Given that we place such a high value on autonomy and freedom of choice in our society, it would seem that having those things would make us happy. But it's actually just not the case. So today I want to talk about the ways in which your freedom of choice is making you unhappy. If you're new here, I'm Brian, a once trauma ICU RN turned full-time heroin and meth addict, arrested for selling drugs, currently on house arrest, serving out the rest of my 3 to 10 year sentence. This YouTube channel is just a way for me to share with you what I'm discovering about how to find meaning and balance, and I'm applying those lessons that I'm learning to my own life in real time for you here on the channel. So welcome. All right, our modern world is designed to offer us as many choices as possible. We are simply awash in a sea of choices all the time, on every level. There are the major life-directing choices, of course, like which career path to follow or whether or not to go back to school or whatever. And although there are probably way too many options regarding those things, what I'm concerned more with here are the smaller, micro, unnecessary, more meaningless choices that we're making constantly throughout every single day. It may not feel like it, but I read recently that we make something like 35,000 choices per day. That's a crazy number. And regardless of wherever that came from or how accurate that is, I think that it would be hard to disagree that we are constantly just being bombarded with all these little choices. So what are the actual effects of all of this endless deciding? According to British physician and author Dr. Rangan Chatterjee, every time you can't figure out what food to order or which clothes to put on or which phone to buy or which song or podcast episode to put on, you are adding yet another microdose of indecisive tension to your day, which is bringing you closer and closer to what he calls your personal stress threshold, the point at which stress really starts to negatively impact your health. There is just so much research that suggests that too many choices has a negative impact on us. I was recently reading The Paradox of Choice, a book by the psychologist Barry Schwartz, and in the book he demonstrates how as you encounter one attractive alternative after another, each additional alternative reduces the pleasure that you feel after making whichever decision you end up making. And this is due to a buildup of our ever-increasing awareness of the opportunity costs and the trade-offs that we are making by making one decision, because there are so many other options that we could have had as well. This results in more indecisiveness, which is strongly correlated with lower life satisfaction, feelings of regret, and even depression and anxiety. So you would think that with all of this deciding that we're doing, at least maybe we're getting more of what we want, but that's just not really the case either. In fact, if you know anything about advertising and the manipulation tactics involved in it, there's a lot of evidence that we aren't even that good of judges of why we are even making the decisions that we do. Psychology is replete with studies on this topic as well. They'll do studies where they manipulate some variable which changes people's choices. When you ask the participants afterwards why they made the choice they did, they always have some story about why they made that choice, but the story never involves the variable that was actually the reason why they made that choice. So I know that you think that the ads are working on everybody else but you, but I promise they're also working on you and me and all of us. Okay, all that having been said, for the last 2.5 years of my life, I have been in some stage of incarceration, whether it be jail or prison or now on house arrest. When you are locked in a cell, obviously there are very few choices relative to what we deal with on a day-to-day basis out here in the world. Does this mean that I'm suggesting that it's ideal to be in a prison situation where all of your choices are taken away? I personally had a pretty positive experience with regard to all the choices being eliminated from my day-to-day life. There was something really special and cool about that, and I learned a lot from it. But the thing about incarceration, while it limits your choices, which can be very good, what comes along with it is also a loss of control, which is not good. There are, again, plenty of studies that bear this out, which I won't go into here, but having a sense of control is of crucial importance to psychological well-being. I think it's really important to distinguish between control and unlimited choice. The reason that we find having unlimited choices tacitly so appealing is because we conflate having unlimited choices with having control. Having unlimited choices provides an illusion of control, when in fact, drowning in all of the unlimited, meaningless choices that you're allowing to drain you of your precious time and attention, that in and of itself represents a loss of control. By making a deliberate effort to limit your choices on purpose in this environment, you are actually creating a measure of control in your life. Like I mentioned, I've been in jail, prison, or on house arrest for the last 2.5 years. And during that time, I've felt like I've had more control in my life than I've ever had before. And that is due in large part to my experience of being detached from all of the meaningless choices in my life and kind of having an opportunity to regroup. Now, I'm not saying I would recommend that, again, because it comes with a loss of, control over a lot of other things, but just in my own psychology, I experienced the relief of that detachment from the world of unlimited, superfluous choices. So what am I recommending as some sort of solution or way forward here? Now, I'm definitely not saying that it's never okay to spend a few moments, scrolling through Netflix to try to find something to watch or whatever. What I am recommending is that you take inventory of your day-to-day life and you become more deliberate about when you allow those types of things to happen. If you don't become more aware of when this kind of stuff is happening, or that it is happening at all, your time and attention will be stolen at every turn throughout your day. So how do we begin to choose more wisely in a world of unlimited possibilities? I recommend that you identify in your life where you are regularly making choices that you don't need to, and either eliminate those choices from your life altogether as much as possible, or outsource them to something or someone else. As an example of eliminating choices from my own life, I was always struggling with these choices of what to eat, what not to eat, when to give in, when not to give in, and it was just a mess. So I recently made a commitment for 30 days to just eliminate everything that I ingest besides what I pre-make for myself at home. And I've been doing that for the last 25 days now or something, and it's been phenomenal. It's been a huge game changer for me. I no longer spend any time thinking about anything that I'm going to eat. I just already know what it's going to be, and I just completely am free from all of that noise. As for outsourcing your choices, I'll give you an example from my life as well. One thing that gets me is choosing what music to listen to. I'll kind of just go on Apple Music, and since you have the choice to choose between everything in the whole wide world, I will get stuck trying to figure out what I'm going to listen to. I was sick of doing this, so what I did was I outsourced these decisions to friends of mine. I have very good friends who I respect very much as musicians, and I respect their taste, and so whenever I want to listen to something, I just shoot one of them a text and say, hey, give me an album that I haven't heard that you love, and right away I'll get a text back, and I'll have something new and fresh to listen to that is stimulating and that I wouldn't have found or select it on my own. Another way of outsourcing would be like leave stuff up to chance, roll the die or whatever. You can't figure out what you're gonna wear today. Which shirt do I put on? Just roll some dice or something. And if there's shirts in there that you would never wear, then you should probably get rid of them anyway. Another cool trick is when you're just going about your day, whenever something comes up, like a movie that you want to see or a restaurant that you want to try or whatever, add it to a list. And then when it comes time to make a decision about, what to watch or where to go eat, then refer to the list and just select from those things instead of the infinite possibilities that are out in the world. I have been absolutely blown away by how doing this kind of stuff can actually increase my enjoyment and engagement with all of the things that are going on around me. Not only is there so much freedom in it from not having to make those choices, I'm increasing my exposure to things that, holding tight to my own little preferences wouldn't have allowed me to experience. The point is, in this crazy world of choices, we have to make rules for ourselves. We have to rein in our decision making and take back control of our time and attention. So just take that step and do it. And if you're having trouble getting started, one thing I couldn't recommend more is getting focused on keeping promises to yourself, learning how to more effectively keep promises with yourself. And I made a video about that, which is right here. So check that out if you're interested. The song of the week is This It by The Strokes. Check that out if you're interested. And I will see you guys next week.